Hello everyone, and welcome to your first general challenge lecture. So I'm really excited for you to take on this first general challenge because these general challenge tasks are going to utilize all the skills that you've learned so far. You'll receive the general challenge task, and then you'll get hints to the challenge and then the solution to the challenge. These challenges are going to be a little more difficult than what you've seen earlier, so try breaking down the problem into individual tasks in order to solve the task completely. So let's go ahead and get started. Your first challenge and business task that I want you to answer is this. How many payment transactions were greater than $5? Again, just what's the number, the count of how many payment transactions were greater than $5? Okay, coming up next are the hints. So go ahead and pause the video now if you don't want to see the hints yet. Moving on to the hints. So you'll need to use the payment table, and you'll also need to use count and where along with some sort of comparison operator in order to distinguish what's greater than $5. So just keep that in mind. Okay, coming up next is the solution. So the solution is actually pretty straightforward. You want to select count amount from the payment table where the amount is greater than 5. So that's taking a couple of concepts, just the general concept of selecting from, that very first thing we learned, then the concept of counting the amount column, and then using where along with some sort of comparison operator to filter out which amounts we were looking for. So again, that was select the count amount column from payment table where amount is greater than 5. Remember to put that semicolon in to end your query. Okay, next business task. How many actors have a first name that starts with the letter P? Again, how many actors have a first name that starts with the letter P? Okay, coming up next is a hint. So go ahead and pause the video now if you don't want to see that hint yet. Okay, here comes the hint. So you will need to use the actor table in order to answer this question, and you'll also need to use the like statement and some sort of wildcard operator, such as the percent sign or the underscore. So go ahead and review the like lecture if you need any refresher on how to use that percent sign or underscore wildcard operators. Okay, coming up next is the solution to this challenge. So here it comes. So the solution is select count, and in this case, I'm just selecting all the rows, so you can see an asterisk here, and that's because I just want to count basically all the rows from actor where the first name column is like, and this is where it gets a little tricky, but you have to say like, single quote, capital P, percent sign, quote. And that's because what's going to happen here is you're going to say select the count asterisk, meaning just count all the rows from actor where your first underscore name column is like P percent sign, meaning where the value of first name column starts with a P. Okay, so go ahead and review that solution. Make sure you type it out yourself in case you weren't able to get it. But coming up next is one other challenge task. So here it comes. Okay, your next challenge is how many unique districts are our customers from? That's how many unique districts are our customers from. Okay, coming up next are some hints on how to solve this challenge. So here comes the hint slide. So you'll need to use the address table, and you'll also need to use count and distinct. So go ahead and review the distinct lecture in case you don't remember how to use distinct. But you'll need that in order to solve the challenge, which was how many unique districts are our customers from. Okay, so coming up next is the solution. So go ahead and pause the video now if you don't want to see the solution yet. Okay, here comes the solution for it. So the solution was to select count distinct district from address. So this is going to basically do this. It's going to say select, and if we start from the inside here, it's going to grab all the distinct districts. So that means if you have, for instance, a district called Alberta, if you have it several times throughout that column, so several rows have the value of Alberta in that district column, what distinct is going to do is just select all the unique ones. So it means it'll just filter it down so Alberta only shows up once, or that particular district only shows up once. And then what count is going to do is just count all those distinct districts. And that's basically going to give you the answer of how many districts or unique districts are the customers from. And you have to get that from the address table. Okay, so one more challenge. I want you to retrieve the list of names for those distinct districts from the previous question. So this is going to be a really similar question, but I just want you to make sure you really flesh out your understanding fully and just retrieve the list of names for those distinct districts from the previous question. Okay, here comes the hints. So again, you need to use the address table, and really strong hint, this is going to be very similar to the previous challenge solution. So you should really only be editing basically one word. Okay, so hopefully you can get it, but if you don't, go ahead and pause the video now, try to get it. And now we're going to do the solution. So here comes the solution for it. The solution is to basically just remove that count. So if you just say select distinct district from address, you won't get the actual number count, you'll just get that list of the distinct districts that the customers are from. Okay, hopefully you're able to get that. Another challenge here is how many films have a rating of R and a replacement cost between $5 and $15? That's how many films have a rating of R and a replacement cost between $5 and $15. Okay, go ahead and pause the video now. Try to solve this challenge on your own using your SQL querying skills. And up next are some hints on how to solve this challenge. Okay, here comes the hints. So the hint is you'll need to use the film table, and you may also need to use between and a where statement with some sort of comparison operator in order to solve that issue of between that $5 and $15. Hopefully the word between earlier was a clue for you for you to figure that out on your own. Okay, so those are your hints. Go ahead and pause the video now if you want to attempt the problem on your own. But coming up next is the solution. Okay, here comes the solution. So the solution was to select count asterisk, so just select the count of all the rows from film, where the rating is equal to that string R, so single quote R, single quote, and replacement underscore cost column is between 5 and 15. Notice I don't have to put strings between 5 and 15 because they're both just numeric data types. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down just a little further. Sometimes it confuses people why you have to just select count asterisks here instead of like title or something. And that's because by saying count asterisks, you're basically just saying count the number of rows returned, which makes sense because it doesn't matter what column you select, you're still going to be counting the same number of rows there. So you're saying just select the count of the number of rows from film that get returned when you select the rating is equal to R and the replacement cost has to be between $5 and $15. Okay, so another challenge. This one's going to be maybe a little trickier, testing your pattern matching skills. How many films have the word Truman somewhere in the title? So that's how many films have the word Truman somewhere in the title. Okay, so coming up next are some hints. Go ahead and pause the video now if you don't want to see those hints yet. Here comes the hints. So you'll need to use the film table in order to solve this, and you'll also need to use like with some sort of wildcard operator. So again, you can review the like lecture in order to get an understanding of how to use those wildcard operators in case you've forgotten. All right, coming up next is the solution. Here it comes. So the solution is to select count asterisk. Again, we just want to select the count of the number of rows returned from film, where the title column is like, and this is where maybe it was a little tricky for you, but remember the question asked, if we just go back 2 slides here, it asked how many films have the word Truman somewhere in the title. So not at the beginning, not at the end, just anywhere in the title. And that means we had to use wildcard operators on both ends of Truman, meaning any number of characters or any sequence of characters can come before Truman, and that includes spaces, and any sequence of characters can come after Truman. Okay, so that was the solution. So select count asterisk from film where the title is like, and then single quote, %, Truman, %, single quote, semicolon to end that query. All right, great job. Hopefully you found those challenges straightforward, a little tricky, but not too hard. They should have been pretty basic. What we're going to learn from now on is going to really up your skill level in SQL. Learn how to do joins and group bys, which are some really powerful SQL statements, and that will really take you to a much more professional level understanding of SQL and the ability to use PostgreSQL database in order to do some real professional queries. Okay, thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed those challenges, and I will see you at the next lecture. Thanks.